Welcome into another edition of the Cavalier Connection podcast. By the time you're listening or watching this, we are just a day away from kicking off the 2025 season when the Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina come into Scott Stadium. And we want to welcome you all in here. Got some special guests who we just appeared on their program. It's the Strut podcast is going to come on in here and talk about their Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. Going to talk some football with them and talk about the upcoming matchup, as well as once we get done with them, breaking down what we think of the matchup, what we think of the upcoming season, previewing it all. You don't want to miss any of it. But I'm Jack Lowe, joined alongside, as always, my dad, Jeff Lowe, and Jay. How are we doing, guys, Jay?
Doing great. All I could think was, we're only a day away.
Only a day. 2 days for us right now. By the time you're listening, only a day. That's all, Dad.
Yep, can't wait. Gonna make a trip, making that trip to Charlottesville Saturday. Gonna stop in over with our friends over at Old Mincer's. We got some gear ordered. We're waiting to pick it up for that orange out situation, as Dusty Rhodes would say. So excited.
Yeah, so as we mentioned, tomorrow's kickoff. By the time you're listening to this, there's something special about game week in Charlottesville. The buzz on the corner, the walk down to Scott Stadium, and the sea of orange and blue filling the stands. For generations, Mincer's has been part of those memories, outfitting Wahoos with the gear that makes Saturdays feel like home. Now it's your turn to carry on the tradition. Just in time for kickoff, Mincer's is rolling out their incredible orange tag deals, the perfect chance to grab your game day gear, save big, and get ready to cheer on the Whoos. Be sure to stop by the corner or Stonefield, or you could go shop online at mincers.com. Again, that is mincers.com to be part of the tradition, because game day isn't game day without Mincer's. And like my dad mentioned, we placed our order. We got our orange out goodies that we're going to be wearing. Got some stuff for my brother, my mom, got myself a shirt and a hoodie. Some great deals on the website right now. You want to be sure to go check it out. But if you are going to check it out, be sure to check out thecavalierconnection.com. There's a link there to Mincer's as well that you could check out. That really supports us. If you want to support us, that is really big. We really appreciate that.
I've got an idea.
And we now welcome in the Strut podcast, the podcast that doesn't fear the teal, but we do squint at it a little. Today we're talking about Coastal Carolina, home of the Chanticleers, a.k.a. the only team bold enough to name themselves after a Shakespearean chicken. You've got to respect a school that said, let's build a football program right next to a mini golf course. Great vibes, confusing mascot, and turf that looks like someone spilled a Slurpee. Let's dig in, guys. How you guys doing tonight, Chili?
That was almost as good as mine from last night, but I did bring my jokes I didn't use. So, Jack, tread carefully, okay?
Good stuff, Jack. That's awesome.
Good.
I think Jay wrote a lot of that, so give him some credit as well. Jay.
No. All Jack.
Not taking the credit.
We all took some credit. So it had a little fun. But with that being said, by the time the viewers are listening and watching this, we will be just over 24 hours till kickoff. A lot of excitement in the air for both squads and also just college football in general. By the time we're recording this, there's a lot of football games on right now. What would you guys say is the biggest storyline around Coastal this season that UVA fans might not know about? I'll start with you, Joe.
Oh, wow. I'm trying to answer a phone call here. My wife doesn't know that I'm on a podcast right this second. She went
out to go first, Joe?
Yeah. In terms of storylines, I mean, I think we talked about this last night too, and we're going to have to talk about it tonight. I mean, how many unknowns are going into this game for both these teams, right? I mean, how many new players, how many new coaches? For Coastal, it's 60 new players, 2 new coordinators, almost the entire assistant coaching staff got flipped. Who are these guys, right? I mean, you guys talked about it last night for Virginia. You guys are almost in the same boat that we are. I mean, who are going to be the guys that we see, Saturday night at 6:00 at Scott Stadium? I mean, who are the guys that are going to make the plays, right? I mean, we know that MJ Morris is going to start at quarterback. He's played at Maryland and NC State. I mean, he has a little bit of a history with Tim Beck, and so he's going to get the start there. But there are just so many unknowns, right? I mean, there are always these kind of things going into a season opener, but going into this one, this is just kind of crazy. I think, who can, if we want to talk about keys, that kind of thing, we'll probably get into that a little bit later. But, I mean, it's just all the unknowns. Who's going to step up and make a play first? What team can sort of get the momentum going first, right? Who can get the upper hand of this thing early? I think that's a big thing for me is I'm going to start watching this thing when we kick off at 6.
Yeah, Joe, I agree. And I was thinking about what you said as far as like the unknowns. And I think maybe to layer that answer would be how soon can the unknowns have some chemistry? Like, like you're running a play, right? This guy's going to pull, the running back's supposed to be over here kind of thing, but you haven't hit anybody else yet. And you got to figure out like how soon can I depend on this guy to do his job and how soon we can develop that chemistry together that we're comfortable with each other. And for us playing on the road in a much bigger stadium than we're used to, we've got to develop our chemistry fast. So, Joe, I agree 100%. There's a lot of unknowns for both teams on both sides of the ball. If we can get that chemistry to gel faster than Virginia Saturday, I think that might give us a good shot. But it's the unknowns and bringing those unknowns together as far as that chemistry and gelling together while they're on the field.
For sure. And looking at the depth chart with the unknowns, I know there's a lot of not set in stone positions, I'd say, even at the quarterback position. With that being said, though, I'm sure you guys have a little bit of research done on some of the guys that are transferring in from different schools. Is there any players on either side of the ball that you guys are really excited to see play and think can make an impact early on Saturday night?
I'm looking forward to Robbie Washington, kid that's coming in from Miami. He played some DB there, and we'll start at wide receiver if you if you can go through all the this guy or this guy or this guy, right? I mean, that's kind of what these things look like. But Robbie Washington's kid, I'm looking forward to seeing. Jalen John at running back coming in from UMass, right? I mean, he's going to join Javen Simpkins, who was a big time explosive player for about one game and one quarter last year. And he went down against William and Mary in our second game. And after that, it was kind of like we lost that explosiveness. But on offense, those two guys really are some guys, that I think can come in and do some things quickly. We do have some knowns. And I talked about this last night after you guys signed off and we got into our keys. Our offensive line, we do know some of those guys, right? I mean, we got 4 or 5 guys that have played a lot of snaps. We kept our offensive line coach. That probably as a position group is the most known group that we have. And so what our guys up front do early on in terms of, pass pro and creating some running space, we'll see, but I mean, we like a lot of these guys that have transferred in, but again, you just don't know, right? I mean, you just don't know what you got until you watch them run around out there for us. Have they got inculcated in the system and how comfortable are they in what we're wanting to do? And again, with 2 new coordinators and more, different, schemes and that kind of stuff, just don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah, Joe, I agree with that too, because I was looking on the defensive side of the ball. And one thing we discussed after you guys left the show last night was what our keys were. I need to see better defense. And we had some transfers on defense, namely 2 corners. One came from Miami, Miles Muyung, and the other one came from Southern Cal. Let me pull his name up, Zamarian Gordon. I'm really looking for, with our new defensive coordinator, he brings a style of defense that's supposed to be more violent. These are his words. So I'm looking to see these guys that, especially our corners, playing a school, an ACC school, is going to be a better athlete across the board than what we're usually seeing in the Sun Belt and in some of our out-of-conference games. So I'm hoping these guys that are coming from the bigger schools into our school are used to seeing what UVA is going to throw at us Saturday. So I'm looking to see some of those guys that are coming to those key skill positions, like the 2 corners, that can make a contribution right from the start of the football game.
Yeah. Before I get into what I'm going to ask you, I got to tell if people aren't watching, if they're just listening, take a second and check out our guests dressed up for us tonight. Joe and Chili both. They wore their Sunday best T-shirts for us.
That's right.
I really like the one in teal there, Joe. That's sharp looking. I like it.
You guys should consider orange ones.
That's what I was gonna say. We may need to get the orange ones, but anyway, getting on with the football. I'm sure you've heard the saying when you have 2 quarterbacks that are playing, you really don't have one. Mm-hmm. And I read or heard somewhere that you guys have 4. So what does that mean? I mean, what do we know about any of these guys really?
Well, Coach Beck said, Joe, recently, either at the Tuesday call-in show or in a press conference around that time, that he might even throw off all the quarterbacks at some point and let them see the field. We lost one, Emmett Brown, to injury, but we've got other quarterbacks, as you pointed out, Jay, on the roster. I honestly agree with that statement that if you've got two, you've got none. So I'm really hoping that MJ Morris gets into a good rhythm early so we can get that continuity going. But it's really hard to say because if you've seen our depth chart, it's this guy or this guy or this guy. So it's, we've got more oars than people at canoe practice. So I don't know what
awesome.
to think going into this.
I don't think that we're going to play 4 quarterbacks on Saturday night. I think a lot of that is, coach speak and this, that, and the other thing. Last year, before we went into the Jacksonville State game, that was our opening game. It was supposedly a quarterback battle between Ethan Basco, who's at Liberty now, and then, Noah Kim, who had come in from Michigan State. It was supposed to be a battle. And there really wasn't a battle. I mean, it was Ethan's job. I mean, he had it.
Yeah.
You hear these coaches talk about this stuff all the time. I don't think there's a way. Jay, I agree. You can't run multiple quarterbacks out there at a time and have any sort of continuity or confidence, in your offensive, your players and what it is that you want to do. Right. I mean, you got to have a guy who steps up and leads. And I think, obviously from what Coach has talked about, he actually talked about it on our podcast last week and then reiterated this week. MJ Morris will get the start. We may see Samari Collier, who had a great JUCO career, national champ. I mean, getting off the bus, this kid looks like he looks the part. And who knows what may happen, 3 or 4 weeks, 5 weeks from now. He might be the guy, depending on what goes on with MJ Morris. Tad Hudson was a kid who never had played a snap of college football until the bowl game last year when we lost every quarterback that we had. Everybody just went, whoop. They popped smoke as soon as the season was over. So we had to run Tad Hudson out there. And he didn't do a bad job.
Right.
He really didn't. He came from North Carolina, and he came to us last year, and he really didn't do a bad job in the bowl game, all things considered. But I think right now probably third on the depth chart. And then we got John Hunt, who's a good kid, right? I mean, he played at East Tennessee, and he came to us, Dutch Fork, South Carolina kid. Dutch Fork, great program here in this state. But I don't think we're going to see multiple quarterbacks. I really don't, unless somebody is just so ineffective and can't get it done that then maybe you have to make a change. But I think right now this is going to be MJ Morris. We'll see what he gets done. But one quarterback, and I agree, you can't run a whole bunch of dudes out there.
Right.
Well, just for this week, I hope you get to see multiple quarterbacks.
Thank you, Jeff.
And
Thank
not for injury's sake, just for their gameplay. But wouldn't mind seeing what you guys got across the board.
Yeah, for sure. So what's the perception of UVA football down in Conway? Are the fan base, are they looking at as just another non-conference matchup, or is it, ACC school they get up for?
It's an exciting matchup because it's an ACC school.
Mm-hmm.
I remember last year when you guys came to town, I still think, Joe, if I'm wrong, correct me, I think that's the record for best attended game in Brooks Stadium since we had our stadium expansion.
That's correct.
So people are excited to hear the big names, the brand names that you hear about in college football, because you can, we're mostly on ESPN Plus, but you can catch Virginia on ACC Network. You can catch them on ESPN. I mean, you guys have a good basketball, baseball program too, so the name Virginia when it comes to college sports. And to see our name, Coastal Carolina, who, I was at Coastal when there was no football. Joe was there when they first started football, working in radio. So we're proud of where we've come in the 20 plus years that we've had football. So that's exciting to see Virginia and a brand name like that. So we're very excited about the opportunity. And we're that kind of crowd. I remember the first couple of years of football, our first big school we ever played was Penn State. And I remember people talking, about going to Happy Valley and seeing Joe Paterno, the legend. And the talk around that at the time, I remember this so vividly, was people talking about, like, what if we go up there and pull it off and beat Penn State. Now, we were young. We were FCS at the time, but that was a thing. So we got South Carolina later this year. And that same talk is, what if we go to Columbia and shock the world? That we're always that what if school. We did it with West Virginia. We've done it with other schools too. So we've always had that kind of feeling like we're due for a Power 4 victory. I'm not saying it's going to happen this Saturday. I'm saying, but we do get excited for the so-called brand names, the Power 4 teams, that kind of stuff. So I can tell you, as my viewpoint is that playing an ACC school is exciting in and of itself, but beating them will be even more exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
We had the opportunity in 2022 late in the season to come up and play Virginia, and even though Grayson had gotten hurt, Grayson McCall, we were 9-1 at the time, and I don't know, the circumstances would stop that game. I mean, just the horrible tragedy that happened, and it just I'll never forget that Monday morning, right? I mean, you wake up and you see that something awful has happened in Charlottesville, and oh my goodness, I mean, you just like, wow, there are things that take a back seat to football. We were really looking forward to coming up and playing that game, and obviously the circumstances stopped us from doing that. But now here it is, 4 years later, we get a chance to come up there and do that, play this football game. But I think our people, our fans, were excited when we saw, the 2-for-1 that was agreed to by both schools. I mean, obviously last year didn't go the way that we wanted it to, but I think this year's a chance for redemption. So I think we have, a lot of fans who are excited to come up there and play a Virginia team that, quite frankly, and we talked about this last night, you guys mentioned it. I mean, this is kind of a make or break thing for Virginia. I mean, the Cavaliers got to do something this year. And I think kind of we're in that same boat too. I mean, we didn't have a great year last year. We got to bounce back. I think this is a huge game for both teams. And I think that's why our people might be excited about this, maybe more so than a season opener than I can remember. I mean, we've got to bounce back and play better than last year. We had a 4-1 start and then went 2-6 after that. We just didn't play good football. This is an opportunity, I think, for us to come up Charlottesville and kind of a fresh start, a reset, and let's see what's going on. And I think our folks are excited about that.
Just off of what you were just saying, so would you say Coach Beck is on the hot seat this year?
That's a great question, Jeff. I mean, I will say this. I think this is a critical year. Okay, if I say it without saying it, I think this is a critical year because after last season, his first year we went 8-5 and won a bowl game. And that was pretty good, but that was a little bit of a step down from where we were with Jamie Chadwell, right? I mean, Jamie did a lot of great things for us, right? I mean, he won a ton of games. He led us into the FBS. We won a conference championship, won our first bowl game with him, and then we got into 22, and then we kind of got dinged up at the end of the year, and things kind of went south. And then Coach Beck comes along. We go 8-5 and 23. We do win a bowl game, and we, for the most part, look good for that season. We had some really weird kind of games that year. I mean, James Madison just destroyed us at home in a game that really meant a lot. That didn't make a whole lot of sense. Last year, we started 4-1, like I just mentioned, and then we just kind of went south. I mean, things just the wheels kind of came off. Coordinators got changed. The assistant coaching staff got turned over. 60 new guys are on board.
Right.
What that tells me is, okay, we can't do that again. We can't have another 6-7 season again. We're still trying to gain our foothold in FBS football, right, in the Sun Belt Conference. We're one of the best teams in the Sun Belt. We've shown that in 5 years of football. Plus, I mean, we started in 2017, but we really kind of picked things up in 20. We've shown that we're a good team in FBS and Sun Belt football. We can't do 6-7 again. We can't look like we did down the stretch last year. We just can't. So yeah, I mean, is this a season where I think that if he doesn't come through, that he might be gone? I can't go there, but I think this is a big year where we've got to show with all the changes, we're moving forward again. We're going to get back to where we were, winning 8, 9, maybe 10 games.
All right.
Yeah, Joe, and I agree. There's two things. One thing, Joe, I'm surprised you bring up was you talk about culture on our show a lot, and bringing those new guys in with the new coordinators and the new players. We're looking for a culture change. Sometimes last year when we got down, it felt like when we got down, we were out. And
Yeah.
I'm thinking that it needs to be a change in culture. To be honest with you, and to add on to that, I feel like with our new athletic director and the aggressive things he's doing as far as marketing the programs that he's in charge of for the school, I feel like if you got a good football team, you probably got a whole lot more pride in your school when the football team is good. And I feel like I'm not going to say there's going to be a change made. I'm going to kind of stand with Joe on this, but I will say that Chance Miller, our AD, is doing a lot to promote all the programs. And I feel like he wants a return on his investment. If he's putting a lot into it, he wants to get something for the fans back out of it. I mean, if you go to a home game at Coastal this year for football, you can get free nachos, popcorn, drinks, and hot dogs. Right, Joe? Those 4 things, right?
At least, yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, he's doing stuff like the first home game next week against Charleston Southern. There's going to be a drone show. So, I mean, he's doing all kinds of really cool stuff to promote the program. So if we promote, and we go 6 and 7 this year, that's going to be a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people.
And just, you mentioned culture, and I'll just, wrap it up right here. The Virginia game was about culture last year, in my opinion, because we backed down. Coastal backed down from that challenge. And I hate to say that, and I hate to put it that way, but Coastal just got run over. I mean, that game was about physical football. Virginia came out and smashed us in the mouth on both sides of the line of scrimmage. That was about culture. That was about just, who's going to man up and play this game. And all credit to UVA last year at Brooks Stadium. They came out and just smashed Coastal in the mouth on both sides, won that game convincingly. And that was kind of the first time I thought, that didn't look good at all in any way. And give UVA credit. They played, like you guys mentioned last night, probably their best game of the season, but that's not something that should have happened, quite frankly, but it did. And I think that was all about culture.
And speaking of up front, this will be the last question on the actual gameplay. I know you mentioned your secondary and getting those couple corners from some, Power 4 programs, but we did have a career day rushing last year. Does Coastal have the bodies up front to slow that down a little bit better this year, you think? Or is it a crapshoot with all the new players?
It's a crapshoot in my opinion. It's a crapshoot in my opinion because I'm a defense guy. I love defense, and that's what I coached when I was a high school coach. I love the defensive side of the ball. And if Jeremiah Johnson, our new defensive coordinator, is going to bring the violent play, the gang tackling like he's been talking about and I guess scheming for whatever, I feel like if we can stop the run, then we could be successful Saturday. When we did our one key to the game Saturday after you guys signed off from us last night, mine was just 4 words, just do freaking better. You guys had a career day against us in different categories. Season highs, I'll read this to you. You might already know it, but season highs last year against Coastal in rushes, yards rushing, yards per rush, rushing touchdowns, points, and first downs. So, I mean, you guys had a terrific day against us. And Joe, talking about culture, I need to see defense. So I don't know if I can answer your question, Jeff, because there's so much roster turnover, and it's the nature of the beast in college football now. You used to be able to look forward to signing that good freshman and watching them come along about sophomore, junior, senior year as your starter in whatever position, and knowing that person, whatnot. I don't know. I hope and pray that the defense, especially the rush defense, and we have some pride about us. And remember that you guys had a terrific day on the ground against us, and that's really what beat us. That's what took us out of the games that last year in Brooks Stadium.
Jack.
Sorry about that. But so if Coastal's going to win Saturday, what exactly has to go right? And if they lose, what do you think the storyline will be?
Oh, great question. I think for Coastal, I think it's going to, and we talked about this last night too, after you guys, when we got into our own keys. I think our offensive line, or these guys are the only really known factor, right? This is the only known position group. If we can run the ball and help MJ Morris out a little bit, I think that's going to help us big time. We can't turn the ball. We can't have 2 catastrophic turnovers early in the game like we did last year. And in a season opening game where you really have so many unknowns, the team typically that commits the fewest mistakes in terms of turnovers and penalties typically wins the game. Doesn't always happen that way, but typically it does. But I think if we can establish the run game with our offensive line, give MJ Morris some time to throw, I like our chances. Conversely, if Virginia can, line up and do what they did last year, Coastal ain't winning this game. Just here to tell you they can't. And then, with Chandler Morris, got to figure out, stop that guy. I mean, he's a great athlete, obviously, and that's why he's going to get the start Saturday night for Virginia. So we'll just have to see how that goes with our defense. But, season opening game, a lot of different things can happen. A lot of variables go into this thing, but I like our offensive line up front. If they're effective, we'll be good, and we'll have a chance to win. If we commit turnovers and do stupid things, Coastal's going to lose.
And we do have some leadership at linebacker. We got Shane Bruce back from last year's team, and he had a pretty good year last year. And it's good having a middle linebacker as your captain who's back. I remember when he announced at a post-game press conference, I was in the press room, and another reporter just came up and said, "Are you coming back next year?" And when he said yes, I remember getting on the Sunday episode of the Strut, and I feel like I was announcing to the world that Shane Bruce is back. So we're happy to have him back. And for me as a defensive guy, again, I can tell you that having somebody like him back is huge as far as leadership on your defense goes. And going back to that culture piece, if you got a guy who's leading the team, then the culture should be able to fall in line behind someone or some idea or something. So I'm really hoping that Bruce can lead our defense like Joe was kind of referencing just a second ago. So, Joe, I think I agree with you. I think offensive line, but I think secondly, or maybe 1A, 1B, offensive line, and then maybe linebackers possibly.
Sounds good. We appreciate you guys joining us once again tonight, and we appreciate you guys having us on last night. Great content from you guys, and can't wait for Saturday. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think both of us, all of us, are really, really ready to just kick off the season. So cannot wait for that. But once again, thank you guys so much. If you guys want to, where can the people find you guys if they want to check you guys out?
We've got, we're usually as far as the podcast goes, how we, okay. We are a Riverside group, so ours gets distributed through Spotify. So you can catch us on Spotify. A lot of people stream us on Apple, any of the major platforms. We're available there. We also have a YouTube channel, the Strut Podcast. You can see all of our shows cataloged. As a matter of fact, ours went live last night. So the show we did last night, once we finished that recording, it was already up on YouTube once we finished. So we've got that show. You can catch us if you want to look at us. Good luck with that. But you can see us on YouTube, catch us on Apple or Spotify. The Strut Podcast is what we are, our name. So we're looking forward to hearing from Cavalier Nation, and wish you guys all the health in the world. We hope we're victorious, but we hope you guys come out and win every game this year except your first one.
Same your way. Except y'all have ODU on the schedule this year?
Yes, we do. Yeah.
So Jay and I went to ODU. So
the Dominion of Old, the Dominion of Old. That's what we call them when we do our pick 'em. The Dominion of Old.
Are you in Norfolk, or do they come to Conway?
Oh, I think we go. I think we go there, Joe.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
All right, two trips to the Commonwealth.
There you go.
So I will tell you this: if you get a chance to go back and listen to the Strut, our Pick'em segment might be the best thing we do. Everybody in the Sun Belt's got a nickname. So Joe referencing the Dominion of Old, that's what we call Old Dominion.
That is my favorite of all the schools in the Sun Belt that we have given nicknames to. The Dominion of Old.
That is outstanding. I'm gonna have to start saying that. That's great stuff. Well, guys, once again,
feel free to use it.
Oh no, go ahead. Oh yeah. Hey guys, once again, we appreciate you guys coming in. Great content from you guys, and best of luck the rest of the season.
Thanks guys. Thanks for having us on.
Appreciate you.
Yep.
Once again, a big thanks to the Strut Podcast for joining us tonight. Great to hear their insights about the Coastal football situation. Like we've talked about over and over, revolving door at almost every position other than left tackle. Left tackle is the only position that's in concrete on who's starting. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see who they throw out there, and it's great to hear their insights. So Thanks to them. Be sure to go check out their stuff on Spotify and on YouTube at the Strut Podcast. With that being said, we're not quite done yet because we want to talk about this upcoming schedule that Virginia's got, as well as our final score predictions. So we're going to go ahead and get the schedule up on the screen here. And each one of us is going to predict win, loss, until we have a total schedule. And Jay, I'm going to start with you because you got to find 9 wins. So you want to go ahead and start, Jay?
Let's just go game by game. We'll skip Coastal Carolina, and
Okay.
we're going to start NC State. Jay, W or L?
I'm going to take that as a W.
Okay. Jack, what do you got?
I'll also take a W in Raleigh. Big
All right.
game. Big game.
We're going to make it a trifecta. Watching NC State play as you're watching
Yes.
this last night. Well, I've watched them tonight. Not impressed, and
Nothing too special.
I'm going with a win there. William and Mary, are we all across the board?
Across the
I
board.
hope so. Yes.
All right.
Give me the tribe.
Stanford, Jack.
I'm going to take a win. They looked really bad at Hawaii in week 0, or continued week 1 or whatever. I'm going to take the Who's.
Okay.
I feel like that's like asking for William and Mary. There's not much difference. I don't think they look
I
terrible.
agree.
Give me
Will
the Who's.
Stanford keep it closer than Coastal Carolina?
Who says we're Jack? That's mighty. Woo.
We haven't even
Big
gone
call.
to Coastal Carolina yet.
I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Jack's talking big. So we all got Stanford wins. So we are all at 3 wins right now, not counting a Coastal game one way or the other. Florida State, Friday night. I'll get us started there. Friday night in Charlottesville. This is a tough one. We're 2-0, maybe 3-0 if we beat Coastal. We haven't talked about that one yet. Florida State, Coach Elliott, we're going to get that W. I'm going to take the W and get us to a 4-0 start. Jay, go ahead.
I'm right there with you, and I'm going to take the Who's to go 5-0.
I'm really worried. The thing is
Maybe
nobody
12.
knows what Florida State's going to be this year. But with that being said, I do have faith in the Who's to pull this one out. Huge game. One of the biggest games yet, the Elliott era potentially, and to try and kick us off to get to whatever the record be at that point. So I'm going to take a win.
All right. So we're sitting in at – so we're all saying Coastal's a win. We'll get a final score prediction. We're all saying Coastal's a win.
I agree.
So we're sitting in after Florida State. All of us have us at 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 4-0, 5-0 for a big game at Louisville. Who wants to start us there?
I'll start. I hate to say it. I think we're going to take the loss at Louisville. Again, I've said it time and time again. I think this is the toughest game on the schedule, going to Louisville, who's one of the top teams in the ACC. But considering this is the toughest game on the schedule, I'm happy with it. And I think the Who's will compete. Unfortunately, I think we lose a close one in Louisville.
Yeah, not much more to add. I mean, I think it's a winnable game, but
Absolutely.
we're not going to win them all. And Brom and company, they've got a great program, and this is going to be our first loss of the year.
I don't like to agree with everything there, but I'm going the same. So we're sitting in at what are we now?
5-1.
5-1. We got Washington State coming to town, and I'm going to give us a win against Washington State at home. So we're bowl eligible 6 games in.
7.
Yeah.
7 games in. 7 games in. We're bowl eligible.
And I think that first bye week, it is after the Louisville game, which will be really interesting. And that Washington State game is intriguing. It's a really interesting non-conference. I'll say coming out of the bye week after a potential loss to Louisville, the Who's will be fired up. They'll be all rested and ready to go. They're going to beat Washington State in Charlottesville.
Yeah, it's homecoming, I believe, and that's going to be I think that's going to be a fireworks show. I think we score a lot of points and get back on track.
So after 7 games, I'm 1 win from Christmas at the Lowe's house. But sometimes you can get so close and you come up a little short. And the following week, we go to North Carolina. We're 6-1. Bill Belichick. Jay, you said you think this is going to blow up on them. But what do you think the Who's are going to do with North Carolina?
I'm going to tell you, I'd love to say. So this is what this game comes down to me, and I'll let you determine if I'm picking a win or a loss.
Huh.
Des Kitchings versus Bill Belichick.
Well, I can tell
I don't
you,
like
I
my
know what
odds
you're
there.
picking.
Okay,
So you're picking.
so
You're picking
I'm
to
picking
who?
the Eagles,
Yeah.
strictly on Coach Belichick's ability to kind of diagnose our offense.
And I'm with you as well. I was picking North Carolina as well. Once again, a couple things. Like you said, we can't win them all. And I don't think this is going to bust on the Tar Heels. And I thought Belichick's just a good football coach. And that's for us, that'd be our 8th game of the season. And if anything, that maybe they get off to a slow start, but you feel like he's going to get them going. So
And their
I got
schedule's
Carolina.
almost as bad as ours. They're
What
not
do you
going to.
got?
They're going to win a lot of games.
What do you got, Jack?
This is a big game. South Florida's rivalry. You get blown out by them last year. You really need to bounce back. Unfortunately, I don't think they will. I think, like I said, Florida State's nobody knows what's going to happen with them. Nobody knows what's going to happen with North Carolina either. For all we know, they could have 2 wins at that point. There's also a question mark at that quarterback position for them. They lost a couple in the transfer portal. Now they're naming starters in fall camp. So it's going to be really interesting. I'm going to take a loss, unfortunately.
Cal. Going across West Coast.
Jack,
We're
what you
sitting
got?
in at 6-2 according to the 3 of us right now. Jay, you got to find 3 more wins.
This is a tough game because, I mean, anytime you're going to the West Coast, it's those weird, all that traveling. And Cal, realistically, I don't think is a great football team. I haven't done too much of a scouting report on them yet, obviously, but it's a tough game. I'm going to get the Hoos to take the win, though. I think they can find a way to take the win.
Real quick, we can't have so much scouting anyway. We don't know what's going on in Cal, and all these teams got new players, so I don't have a clue.
Well, when we get to that week, obviously, we'll know a
Yeah.
lot more about them, is what I'm saying.
Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that really scares me about this game is the cross country trip. Especially if they put us as a night game there, so it's like we're playing at 11 o'clock on our time or something. Yeah. That would suck. And they probably will do that to us. That being said, give me the Hoos.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna pencil in an L for us there. It's our 3rd loss. We're 6-3. And we got Wake Forest coming into Charlottesville the following weekend, family weekend. So we got to get the family in town. And, Wake's going to be looking to get some revenge off of last year's game. Me personally, I think they're going to be coming up short. Any thoughts from you guys?
Who's coming up short? Virginia or
Wake Forest? Wake Forest.
Okay. I agree. I think Virginia takes a win here. I don't see Wake Forest as big of a threat as some of these other schools.
Yeah, I think Wake Forest is a bottom 3 ACC school this year. New coach, lots of new players, like a lot of us, but I think it's going to be a little bit harder for them to get going this year and probably an easier win.
All right. Well, that leads us to going to Durham to play Duke. And as we're recording this, I don't know what the score is now, but Duke was in a dogfight with Elon. But Duke is projected to be much better than what they were doing on the field tonight. Jay, traveling to Duke, what are the Who's doing?
Yeah, this was a tough one. I just think that, Duke at this point in the year will have things together. It's not a hard place to play. We know that. We've been there multiple times. You could take a nap in the stadium during the game. I don't care how good they might be. You want to go to a sleepy town for football.
Don't say basketball.
Go to Durham. By this point, they'll have had their Midnight Madness and all that stuff will be going on. They'll be on to basketball. There might be, 10,000 empty seats, but I'm still going to take Duke in this game to give us our 3rd loss.
Man, you talked so much right there. I thought you were taking Virginia. You had me fooled, Jack.
I gotta say, again, big game. Duke is looking like they're supposed to be one of the top ACC schools this season. And, they're not, they're up 24-10 as we're speaking right now on Elon. They haven't looked their greatest, but they've got a lot of new transfers coming in, a lot of highly rated transfers. Their head coach returning once again. Unfortunately, like you guys mentioned earlier, you can't win them all. I'm going to take a loss in Durham.
I had them for an L in Durham, and that takes us to Virginia Tech.
Oh, boy.
And
I've got
in
the team
Charlottesville
sitting right now at 8-3. Jeff, what do you have the team sitting?
I have them at 7-4, and we were 6-1. So that tells you if it went the way I say, even the way you guys said, that means a 1-3 stretch. That 1-3 down the stretch. And now, if just take my record for example, we're 7-4. We play Virginia Tech at home. If you lose to Virginia Tech, the sour taste on the back end of that schedule after being 6-1, and you finished 1-4 the rest of the way, and a loss to Virginia Tech and a 7-5 record. I don't know, coaching staff wise. What do we have, folks?
I made a bold prediction back when we were had the Cardiac Who's on. I'm gonna stick with that. 3 things about this game: 1, it'll be a sellout. 2, we'll be a favorite when we go into this game, and 3, we'll win by at least a touchdown.
All right, and Jack, real quick, you had Virginia losing to Duke or beating Duke?
Losing to Duke.
Okay. What do you got, Jack?
Big game. I've said that a lot of times throughout the schedule. Virginia Tech is supposed to have Kyron Jones as your quarterback, assuming that he stays healthy by then. Brent Pry, who's also on the hot seat for the Hokies, so he's on the hot seat. Elliott's on the hot seat for the Cavs. And you just have a dogfight in Charlottesville, and I really hope it's much more of a battle than we've had in previous years. I'm going to take the Who's. I really believe they can do it this year, but like you said, if they lose that football game, they end up 7-5. That sour taste, I just don't know about that coaching staff.
Well, if they lose that football game, according to you, they're finishing 8-4.
Yes, I know.
So,
I'm saying on your terms.
Yeah, on my side, and so I don't know whether to say Jay or Jack because there's nothing different from any of y'all's picks. So
Jack, did you pick them to win or lose?
he picked them to win. Y'all both have 9-3 with the exact same 3 losses.
Oh my goodness, Jack! You said 8 on the radio. I mean, come on, Luke. On Luke's show, you said 8. So
we said 8. Pure weakness, and I said 7, which would tell you they're going to lose to Virginia Tech. And every part of me says we should beat Virginia Tech this year, no question.
Yeah.
And I really don't even want to pick the game.
Yeah, really,
I don't want to pick
to either.
That's why I'm picking to win.
I would say, yeah.
Come on, it's preseason. You got to pick to win.
Yeah, I can pick it. Everything we've done for the last 25 years has folded up shop. Jack's seen him win one time in the history of his life. It's 2019 is the last time we beat him. Before that, God knows, long time.
03.
So there's no question. I mean, until we can prove ourselves, I have to pick. I'm picking the Who's. I'm gonna go ahead and pick the Who's. I don't know whether I believe it or not, but let me just pick the Who's. I just got to pick them.
Yeah.
It's just because Virginia Tech pisses me off. I hate them bastards. I hate all their Twitter people. All their Twitter people are always posting the dumbest stuff. I'm about to use some words I shouldn't use, so I won't use them. What I really want to call them. They're a bunch of pigs. They're turds. All of them. From the college huddle Sons of Saturday to I don't care that you're part of college huddle. You're part of Virginia Tech, so you suck with the rest of them. Virginia Tech sucks. I hate Virginia Tech. I hate them bastards. So if you cover Virginia Tech, if you're a coach on Virginia Tech, if you're a player on Virginia Tech, if you cover Virginia Tech for the flipping college huddle, you suck. Bring it on. Come to Charlottesville. Your time is done. Let's go Who's.
I
Alrighty.
can't follow that up.
There you have it. So those are our predictions for the schedule. Very emotional picks at the end there by one Jeff Lowe. But I really hope we do it this year. If it doesn't happen, we might be in trouble. But with that being said, by the time the listeners are listening to this, in just over 24 hours, we will have a Week 1 football game. The Chanticleers, who are still trying to truly figure out what that mascot is of Coastal Carolina, comes into Charlottesville, into Scott Stadium. We got to have our final score predictions. Dad, I'm going to start with you.
Coach Elliott, if you don't beat Virginia Tech this year, it's time for regime change. My final score prediction is Virginia with a 37-17 win over Coastal Carolina, covering all spreads.
Jay?
All right. I think we're going to put boots to hind parts, and I think we're going to go hang 44 on them. I'll take the Who's 44-20.
You guys have Virginia minus 11.5 right now, is the line I saw.
I had them at 10
12.5. So if it's 11
it's around that number.
It's
around that number. I also obviously take the Who's winning. I have them covering that spread. I have a strong offensive performance, a nice run game established. With that being said, there's too many unknowns for Coastal Carolina. Too many people that you don't even know who's going to start at any position. There's just not going to be enough chemistry there. Too many unknowns. So give me the Who's. I'm going to go 30. I'll go 35. Nah, I'll go 38. I'll go Who's 38, Coastal Carolina 17.
Oh, God. I said 37-17. I thought I was just going to go ahead and say Jack was going to say 44-20 Virginia. After the picks on the games.
So with that being said, that's going to wrap us up for tonight. Appreciate all of you for listening tonight. Again, big thanks to the Strut podcast for coming in. Very entertaining guys. Be sure to go check out their stuff on Spotify and YouTube at the Strut podcast to get your scouting report on the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. With that being said, but after you're done watching this one, be sure to go check out thecavalierconnection.com. Got lots of great articles up there. Got my preview article if you want to learn more about Coastal Carolina as well and some of the position battles going on. You can go check that out, as well as some stuff that the Who's need to do to take victory against Coastal Carolina, as well as all the other articles going up there. And be sure to go check out all the social medias on X at Talk EVA Sports and the rest at Cavalier Connection. With that, that's going to wrap us up tonight. Go Who's.
Go Who's.